If you're going to Disneyland and Disney California Adventure in November 2025, this is the guide for you. I'm going to cover everything that you need to know, including which rides are going to be closed, best lightning lane tips, even the best times to go. Plus, if you're visiting during that time between Halloween season and the start of the holidays, which begins November 14th, you might be wondering what you can expect during that time. I'm going to cover that, as well as parade times when the fireworks are playing. Fantasmic. So I got so much coming at you. So let's get right into it. I'm even gonna talk about Thanksgiving, but first I wanna talk about which rides are gonna be closed during your visit. So starting off with Big Thunder Mountain, which is my favorite coaster. Such a bummer, but it looks like it's still gonna be closed, scheduled to close all month. Now, all of these are subject to change. It's very possible Disneyland could open this attraction earlier. We just haven't heard anything. I don't even see anything for it opening in December quite yet, but they've changed the times a few times, so maybe it's possible we'll see it reopen. I would love if it did. I'll keep you posted if it does. Just stay tuned for that. And then we also have Casey Jr. Circus Train and the Storybook Land Canal Boats. Those are not scheduled to open until later in the winter. So my guess is before Christmas actually begins, my guess is they'll be reopened with a new addition. There's gonna be Rapunzel's Tower added to the Storybook Land Canal Boats, which looks pretty cool. It's a Small World does its seasonal refurbishment slash change over into It's a Small World holiday, and that will reopen November 14th, which is the start of the holiday season, so expect it to be opened at that time. And then at Disney California Adventure, we have the Redwood Creek Challenge Trail, closed November 1st through 13th. So that's it. That's all we have scheduled right now. Now, it is possible other things will get added. If there's any major changes, I'll keep you posted about that. But right now, these are the only closures for November. Now, I really want to get into what you can expect if you're visiting during the time before the holiday season and after Halloween, because Halloween officially ends October 31st at the Disneyland Resort. So if you go November 1st, don't expect Halloween to be fully on. There'll be little remnants of it, which I'll talk about in a second, but basically they typically take away a lot of the Halloween characters. You might still see some of the decor up depending on when you go, but they're gonna take down all of the Halloween stuff first, and then they're gonna put up the holiday stuff. We've already seen that there's snow on Sleeping Beauty Castle, so do note that there will be snow on Sleeping Beauty Castle at least, but don't expect any holiday stuff until November 14th. That's gonna be the official day. I still think we'll see some decorations trickle in that week before, but like you might see Christmas trees and things like that, but they're gonna take down Mickey Pumpkin and then put those up. There's just no set schedule. We don't know if the Mickey Pumpkin's coming down on a certain date. We don't know if there's still gonna be photo ops in front of it. So my guess is it'll be there for the first weekend of November, but then by Monday it'll probably be gone, is my guess. That would be my guess. But the good news is they're gonna bring back Wondrous Journeys, because it's not gonna be the Halloween Screams fireworks show and it won't be the holiday fireworks show. So I'll get into times with that, but there will be Wondrous Journeys playing nightly, which is pretty cool. In addition though, you will be able to get many of the Halloween snacks through November 13th. So not every single thing, most things though last until then. So I would say it's like 80% of the menu, if not more than that. But some of those items last through the holiday season. So there are, just depending on where you go, but both parks expect all or most Halloween snacks to last through November 13th. And then the hours, this is another thing that's kind of all over the place this month. So sometimes Disneyland's gonna close at 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. or even midnight. And that just depends on when you go. So here's what you should expect for both parks. Disneyland Park is gonna close basically at 11 p.m. on the weekends. This is the general rule. And then during the week, expect it to be closing at 10 p.m. But once we get into the holiday season, which begins November 14th, on November 14th, Disneyland Park is scheduled to close at midnight. And then it's gonna take a break and go back to closing at 10 or 11. And then we'll see it close again at midnight from November 22nd through the 29th, which is for the Thanksgiving holiday season. So just know that during that break, that Thanksgiving week, they're expecting more people in, so they're gonna keep those hours longer. So midnight on those dates, which is pretty cool to know. I do expect we're gonna see a lot more midnight dates in December. I think this is kind of a signal of that. So I don't think this is around forever, but I do think maybe in 2026, we are going to see the parks closing a little bit earlier than they have been traditionally. And then at Disney California Adventure, that park is scheduled to close 9 p.m. almost every single date until we get to that Thanksgiving week. So November 22nd through the 29th, expected to close at 10 p.m. And again, these are all subject to change and they could very well change. So just keep an eye on that. You can see all the times during your visit in the Disneyland app under the calendar. You should be able to see times there. So when are the fireworks playing? Because it's a little bit harder a thing to find. So Wondrous Journeys, which is one of my favorite fireworks shows of all time, that's gonna return from November 1st through the 13th. So what they're gonna do is they're gonna do the projections and the special effects during every single showtime, expected to play about 9:30 every single night. And then on the weekends, they do add fireworks. So on November 1st and 2nd, and then also on November 7th, 8th, and 9th, expect there to be fireworks, weather permitting, during the Wondrous Journeys show. And I love this show. I think you're gonna love it if you haven't seen it before, so definitely check that out. And then the Believe in Holiday Magic Show, which is a fireworks spectacular, returns November 14th. And the cool thing is Disneyland starts doing nightly fireworks during this time. So this is a time to go. So starting November 14th, expect nightly fireworks, weather permitting, to play every single night at Disneyland with the holiday show. Now, it's not my favorite fireworks show, but the cool thing is it will also snow. Usually snow will happen during the fireworks, but then also every hour. We usually see it like 7:30, 8:30, 9:30, and 10:30, I believe. So just keep an eye on that. You'll see snow on Main Street. So if you really want the full effect, stand and watch the fireworks on Main Street. You can show up usually 30 minutes beforehand. They tell everybody to stand up. You just pop in there anywhere on Main Street. You should be able to see it snow. It's really cool. I really do recommend it. And you'll see fireworks at the end, some lighting effects and stuff. It is nice. It's a nice festive feeling for sure. So now talking about the parades, which are gonna happen at Disneyland Park, and then I'll talk about something that also happens at Disney California Adventure for the holiday season. But Disneyland Park is gonna have 2 parades during this month, not at the same time. So Paint the Night Parade will have its final run for 2025. It'll come back later in 2026. We don't know when yet, but I'll keep you posted. But we know that Paint the Night Parade is scheduled to run through November 9th. So expect it daily at 8:30 p.m. Now, here are the dates for it. So we see that Paint the Night Parade will play nightly at 8:30 p.m. and then weekends it'll play at 8:30 and 10:30 p.m. So that'll be November 1st and 2nd, and then 7th, 8th, and 9th. And then that'll be the final run of it. We'll take a little break, and then the Christmas Fantasy Parade will begin November 14th, and that'll play daily at 3 p.m. and 5:15 p.m. All these times are subject to change, so just a heads up, you might want to double check it on the day of your visit, but typically they stick to these times, and this is what I'm expecting for the Christmas Fantasy Parade and also Paint the Night. Now, over at Disney California Adventure, there's going to be the Festival of Holidays, which begins November 14th, and that's going to have live performances all around the park, but specifically Viva Navidad, which is super popular street party that happens at Disney California Adventure. It celebrates the cultures of Latin America, and it is really stunning and really beautiful. And a lot of people get emotional, but I think it's just like really fun too. So kind of feel all kinds of feelings during it, but I highly recommend checking it out in Paradise Gardens Park, if you especially haven't seen it before. If you've seen it before, then you know to check it out. This will play several times throughout the day. I don't have times currently while this rolls out, but I do want to post a Disneyland holiday update when I go to the parks and kind of show you around and show you what to expect. And I also pop in some tips there, talk about food and so many other things. So make sure you subscribe for that, so that way you get updates about other things we find out for the holiday season. And then other shows playing around. So we have Fantasmic, super popular show. That's gonna play intermittently throughout November. So we're gonna have it November 1st, the 7th and 8th, 14th, 15th and 16th, and then the 21st through the 30th, which is nice. So all of that Thanksgiving week and weekend, we're gonna see Fantasmic playing more often. I do expect Fantasmic to come back a lot more during the holiday season, so stay tuned for that. And as always, my tip for that one is if you want the fewest crowds to see the second showing, you can show up like at 10 p.m. typically and still get a decent spot. Then over at Disney California Adventure, World of Color Happiness will play instead of a holiday version of the show, which typically happens. But I actually think World of Color Happiness is the better version of the two versus the holiday one. So I'm glad they're keeping this one around, but you will be able to check that out daily at 9 p.m. or nightly at 9 p.m. at Disney California Adventure. And even if you see the park closing at 9 p.m., they'll still play World of Color at 9 p.m. They'll just let everybody watch the show, and then the park will just be closed as you leave. And also remember that World of Color does use a virtual queue. It's not required, but typically if you want to get a better spot, I do recommend it. That will open at noon using the Disneyland app. You'll see a virtual queue section on there, and you can just tap in at that point. It's a standing room section, but get everybody in your party a reserved section of that. Then the holiday season at Disney California Adventure, as I was talking about earlier, the Festival of Holidays begins November 14th. So expect food all around the park. at the restaurants, but also they have those marketplace kiosks, those booths that serve the food out there. So we don't know what that is yet as I'm making this video, but I will keep you posted about what we hear for food offerings. So make sure you're subscribed for that as well, because I love to cover the foodie guides and talk about that and review that with you all. Now, speaking of food, if you're going for Thanksgiving and you're like, hey, I kind of want a Disney Thanksgiving experience, what can I expect? So typically there will be stuff served around the parks. Like there might be some Thanksgiving meal sort of things you can add on. It just depends. Again, not without having the foodie guide, we don't really know exactly what that's going to look like just yet, but we do know that a couple restaurants are for sure celebrating and booking now for Thanksgiving. So if you want to dine at a character dining experience, Storytellers Cafe at the Grand Californian does have a character brunch and dinner. Here are the pricing. So this one's going to have Mickey and friends in their festive finest, and the character brunch will go from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's $69 for adults and $39 for kids. And then the character dinner will be $89 for adults and $42 for kids, and that's when you book in the evening after that. So just note, when you're looking at times to book those, if you're going before 1 p.m., it's going to be the brunch. If you're going in the evening, then you'll see that one for dinner. So heads up about that. That goes from 1:30 p.m. to 9 p.m. And then Goofy's Kitchen has the same times and the same pricing, and it'll have Goofy and his friends. So Storytellers Cafe is at the Disney's Grand Californian Hotel, and Goofy's Kitchen is at the Disneyland Hotel. So just know there will be separate character experiences. I don't expect Mickey at Goofy's Kitchen, and I don't expect Goofy at Mickey's, but we may get some other overlapping characters. We just don't know what they are. It doesn't specifically say. That's gonna be the pricing here as well. Now, if you want to skip the lines this holiday season and also know which days are gonna have the fewest crowds, I'm gonna get into that right now. Starting off with Lightning Lane multi-pass tips. I got some of my usuals on here, but I do think we had to kind of switch up some of the rankings. So Space Mountain, Haunted Mansion Holiday, Indiana Jones Adventure, and Matterhorn bobsleds are going to be the ones that I recommend booking first. So make sure you get those ones out of the way and then book the other ones, because these are the ones that are going to book up the fastest. And then at Disney California Adventure, we have Guardians of the Galaxy, Toy Story Mania, and Web Slingers. These are the ones that are also going to book up the fastest. And the best days to go. What do I think are going to have the fewest crowds? I don't think we're going to see like empty days in November for a few reasons. One, we have those $104 ticket dates, which are in the early part of November during the week, and a lot of folks do like to take advantage of those. And then also we have the dates that the holiday season begins. So with Thanksgiving week coming up, kids are off of school. So I do think it's gonna be a popular month to go. But anyway, here are the dates I think are gonna be more of a moderate crowd. November 4th and 7th, and then also 16th through 19th, the 27th and the 30th. And yeah, the 30th is a Sunday. I think that's gonna be a better day than some of the other ones, because I think once that holiday week is over, I think a lot of folks are just not gonna pop in on that day. And then also we have the 27th, which yeah, that's Thanksgiving Day. I do predict, as I've seen over the past few years, it just not be as popular as some of the other dates. If you go the day before or the day after, it's gonna be probably a lot busier than actual Thanksgiving Day. But I wanna know, what are you looking forward to the most during your visit in November 2025? Let me know. And also, if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer. If this video was helpful, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help me out. And if you want more Disneyland tips, hit the subscribe button. I'm keeping all of you updated on what to expect during your visit. I'm David Vaughn. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.